Virgin Radio, 104.4 morning, the Kris Fade Show across the country. We're back. Man, we got him back in the studio.
Yeah.
The legend, the man, Gary Vee is with us. Good morning.
Morning.
My gosh. So we were just talking about this off the radio about just flying and taking short trips, and you've been flying all over the world. Man, you don't stop, and it's fantastic to see it from the outside. How is it from the inside, Gary Vee?
It's humbling. It's just a lot of fun. Like, you know, I mean, for me, the fact that what I'm putting out to the world is not necessarily that I'm a great sportsman or that I'm a supermodel or that, you know, or I'm an educator. I'm a practitioner who is interested in giving away every single thing that works for me and from the other people and companies that I observe. And what that then leads to, I'll give you an example. It leads to the DM I just read right before we went on air. It in all caps, Lamar Jackson. For everybody who's listening, which is probably quite a bit, that don't follow American football, there's a young quarterback that's doing extremely well. For people that are following me very carefully, in the last year I've been talking about sports cards making a comeback. This kid sends me this crazy email of like he was in depression in a bad place. He saw me talk about sports cards. He decided that he's a Ravens fan, which is the team that Lamar plays for. He believed in him. He bought a bunch of them. They've gone up 10x.
Wow.
10 times. You know, and it's been really meaningful to him, and he's got his self-esteem back, and he's got a couple bucks in his pocket, and like that is just awesome.
That's something that you just said that changed someone's life and got him into playing cards, which has now really changed him, got him out of depression, you're saying.
That's exactly right.
Which is amazing.
And what's amazing for me right now is at the scale that I'm playing at, that email, that DM, that text is happening 500, 1,000 times a day.
Yeah.
So what's happening is the positive reinforcement of that I'm getting from the good behavior that I'm putting out, it just becomes a cycle, right? You become addicted to the admiration.
Yeah.
You know, to me, there's nothing that feels better than admiration.
Of course.
And I've started really learning about myself. I just had my 44th birthday the
Happy
other day.
birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
And I hated it. I don't want gifts. I don't want, it was crazy. I said something, I think D-Rock heard me, and I said, I don't like attention. And everybody started laughing. And I said, I'm serious. I don't like attention unless I earned it. Then I love it. Like if I'm doing good stuff, then it feels merit-based. But I don't like it otherwise. So anyway, on the inside, it feels quiet, which would confuse people. Feels slow, which would confuse people. It feels like I feel like I know what I'm up to. I feel like it's early, and it feels impactful.
Wow.
We were talking to
Just had a moment there.
we were talking to Joe Coy, the comedian, the other day. I don't know if you know Joe Coy, an amazing comedian. Please watch it if you like comics. He's coming to do a show here, and I said, as a comedian, do people come up to you and want you to be funny all the time? Like, do they expect you to make people laugh? And do you get that?
Yes.
As soon as people,
Yes.
they don't want to make you don't want to make them laugh, but they want something from Gary
Pearls of
Vee.
wisdom.
They just want something from you. You may be on a flight, and the lady, I'm a big fan, and then they're waiting for you to say something.
Couple things, yes. Next, it feels amazing every time.
Cool.
I've yet to even come close to being bothered. The only thing I feel is humbled. I'm just so flattered. It's just it's crazy. So that's cool. I'm glad that hasn't gone away. And now I'm kind of at the point where oh right, this is not gonna go away. This is how it's gonna be forever. I will always have this perspective. Yes, and that's tough, right? Because I hate when people think I'm a motivational speaker. I understand I'm motivational. I understand I have that. I understand. But if you understand how I communicate, it's a series of thoughts off of a lot of listening, a lot of watching. So in the macro, I can tell you a ton of themes. Parents forcing kids to be doctors, lawyers, engineers. I know what that looks like. People raising capital and not building real businesses. I know what that's like. Everybody wanting to be an entrepreneur now because it's cool and it's the current rock star. I know what that is. So in the macro, I can put out a ton of stuff. But when you roll up to me and say, hey, help me, I'm like, damn, I need a ton of context.
Yeah, like
this is
details.
what am I gonna, what I get caught on those on is because I'm like walking to my cab or whatever, is, I talk about the 4 to 7, 15 things that I know are tried and true. Self-awareness, are you actually living your life for you, or are you living them based on the fact that you want your friends to think you're successful, or you want to appease your mom, right? Like those are true things. So the things that I spew out are generic truths that may fortunately hit them because they're wildly true. Like 98% of the people listening right now, driving or in their kitchen, are actually living their life based on their spouse's opinion, their older sister's opinion, their parents' opinion, or they want to show people that they're successful. People impressing people, people buying things, handbags, cars, apartments, trips, people spending money to impress people they don't like is one of the great cancers in our society.
I've heard you say something similar to that, but then you've said if you do want to buy it and it gives you self-happiness, that's okay. If you want that...
If you buy a Rolex because your grandfather had one, you look at watches for an hour and a half and think those trinkets are cool. Like you understand that this one was made for a limited run. Like that's amazing. If you're buying a Rolex because you're going to the top of the building in Dubai at one night and you want girls to see it so that you hook up, you're in trouble.
You just said.
But
I'm
you've
serious.
just offended so many people in the country. This is what they're doing.
I put my watch on especially for Gary. I'm taking it right off. It doesn't even work, Gary. Look at that. It tells the wrong time.
I see it. It's
tells
stuck.
the wrong
It's
time.
fake. It's fake,
No,
right?
but
Taking it off.
but it's a very unpopular take.
Yeah, no, I
this
agree.
is not what people are talking
Yeah.
about. But I know.
Yeah.
I know it's true.
Yeah.
I know that if you're a 27-year-old guy and you need money and things to close the gap of your insecurity, that you're not in a great place. I know it. I've seen the road. This is the beauty of living through it, watching your contemporaries, and now sitting at the top of the funnel where you're getting 10,000 DMs a month from that 27-year-old guy who's crying in his penthouse that he can't afford. I mean it. Like, people don't get it. Like, there's a lot going on out here.
You go on the you go into like garage sales in the States. We call them garage sales. You guys call them what do you call them?
Garage sales.
You call them garage
garage
sales.
sales.
Yeah.
You were buying toy cars and you were buying certain items and you're flipping them to show people that they can make cash out of this.
By reading all my DMs, I realized how many people, all I want to do every day is eliminate excuses. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more fun for me than eliminating excuses, because once you become accountable, you can become happy. Like, every second that you blame the boss, the government, your parents, some random thing that happened 13 years ago, you're finished. Every time you say everything is my fault, you're on fire. You're going to win. And so I saw so many people blaming I don't have money. And finally I was like, well, you know how, you're just always thinking,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wait a minute. I used to not have any money. What did I do? Oh, right. I used to garage sale and flip stuff on eBay, and I made a fortune. Like tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars, which was a fortune at the time. So, this is what is fun rolling with D-Rock. I'm like, D-Rock, we're going garage selling this Saturday. And we filmed it, and it has inspired so many. Like, the amount of people that can spend $30 on a weekend and then work 5 hours posting and shipping out stuff and make $700 is almost everyone.
Where you were.
I wanted to go back to a point that you made about doing it for others and making other people happy and buying all that stuff. A lot of that is about Instagram as well. With Instagram taking away likes,
Yes.
do you think that mindset is slowly going to start to really hammer home and change? Like, will people start to change?
Yes, I think likes going away is one of the great moves by a social platform in a long time. People are wildly insecure, and now people are only posting what they know is going to get the likes that they're accustomed to getting.
Okay.
What that also means is it makes people talk about things they're not passionate about anymore. It leads to people still talking about themes they talked about 4 years ago that they don't want to talk about. It leads to people who no longer want to show themselves in bikinis continue to show themselves in bikinis because they want to get the same amount of likes. It just leads to people not saying their truth. They've become creatures of the algorithm.
So it's a good thing in your opinion?
I think it's a hugely good thing.
Can I say the heads of Facebook, Instagram got in contact with me a couple of days ago because we were talking about this on the radio. We're getting people's views on what you believe, and a lot of people were positive for it. They wanted me to read this official statement out by Facebook here in the Middle East, which is on November 14th. We expanded our
my birthday.
Happy birthday! I'll start it again. On Gary's birthday, we expanded our test of private likes to the rest of the world beyond Australia, Brazil, Canada, Ireland, Italy, New Zealand. If you're in the test, you'll no longer see the total number of likes and views on photos and the video posted to the feed unless they're in their own, unless it's your own feed. While the feedback from early testing has been positive, this is a fundamental change to Instagram, Facebook, and so we're continuing our tests to learn more about our global community, attributed to Tara Hopkins, EMEA, Head of Policy for Instagram, Facebook. So I like that. I believe it's positive because what?
Oh, it's
a game changer. I think.
I'm deeply in this world, and I've done this for a long, long time. It is a remarkable change.
But
now,
yes,
there's a much bigger point here.
Okay.
And we've been saying it all morning. This is an algorithm and a company that is trying to help everybody with their insecurity. Mm-hmm. They look at data at scale. The fact that Instagram and Facebook have had to hide likes is the great indicator of how unbelievably insecure our society is and how we have to start changing the conversation. That is why I go after watches, bottles, models, private jets. All of this is doing is makeup for deep insecurity. We must put happiness and self-esteem, self-awareness, patience, all these absolutely tried and true things on a pedestal. Facebook and Instagram can't help you. Just because they hid the likes, that doesn't change you going out on Friday night and feeling insecure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you say that and you're living it. Gary, you're worth a lot of money. But when we follow you and we see you on the gram, you are living a life as just many of us are. We don't see.
We purposely, I use private planes for efficiency, and we rarely show it.
Because you don't want to show, you don't want to be that person to go I'm on a private jet.
I also don't think it's cool. I'm actually pissed I'm spending that much money. How
much is a?
I mean, some flights are $15,000 for an hour, some are $35,000 for two. But I need it to bang out these 2 meetings. I've decided that it's worth that money with the hope that it's ROI positive with my time. I just don't think it's. I don't think it's cool. I also don't show my family for extra likes. I'm the most public private person on earth.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah.
Nobody's putting out the level of content I'm putting out. When you take in all the platforms, podcast, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Snap, TikTok, nobody. Yet, I don't show my family at all.
I know.
I don't, because I don't want to. I like privacy. It's great. But I love people. But there's certain things that I want to keep for myself too. And people are letting themselves put their whole life out there for the likes. Because babies and relationships and pregnancies get more likes.
It's true.
It is true.
People are sucked into one massive game of high school.
Yeah, you're so right.
And
true.
And I'm trying to get them out of it because it gets really... The reason I was so happy in high school was because I was not stuck in high school. I liked everybody. And I like nobody. Do you know what I mean? It was all just
it was an experience.
And that's how it is now. For me, the reason social works, here's a good one. This might help a lot of people listening. My friends, one of the reasons you're struggling with social media and the negative comments you get is because you're overvaluing the positive comments.
Okay.
If you're this is where everyone gets caught. You love when they say you're pretty. You love when they say you're smart. You love when they say it's lit. But then the problem is, once you hear that, you're also hearing the negative. For me, back to what we're talking about here, for me, my humility is my superpower. Because it allows me to deal with the negative feedback.
Do you get a lot of negative feedback?
Sure. Because people, first of all, I curse a lot. People don't like that. Depending on what stage, when I speak on a stage, and have 5,000 people there, I'm peacocking. You know, I'm doing my thing, and that comes across with a lot of bravado. And when D-Rock and I clip it, and I'm cursing out the crowd, they're like, "Who the hell is this?" You know, and if people that give me negative feedback are the ones that I'm choking out with the content, and they don't like being called out. So when I'm making a piece of content that says, "Stop taking mommy and daddy's money, and you'll actually find happiness," well, the guy in the feed who's taking mommy and daddy's money isn't happy that I'm calling out 28-year-old, you know, because I'm really going there. I'm like, here's why you're unhappy. You're taking your parents' money. You're spending it on dumb stuff. You're insecure. Like, I'm going right at it.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that. So then he's leaving a negative comment. When I see negative comments, I know that I'm helping that person. I'm like, stay with me.
Yeah.
That's where my mind goes. I'm like, stay with me. Hopefully, and this is what I do to a lot of people. They don't like it, but the communication style is so intriguing. They don't, you know, when you're actually giving and you're coming from a warm, pure intent, even the person you're destroying right there, they kind of can tell. You know, humans are amazing animals. Even though I'm yelling at them, suffocating them, calling them out, I think they can sense that I'm coming from a good place, not a bad place.
Yeah.
And so they stick around, you know, they're mad at me for a while, but then, you know, then their 4 best friends think I'm the coolest. And, and then 7 months later, they call their parents and they stop taking the money. And then 4 months later, I get a DM that says, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that's the oxygen for me to keep going through it all.
If you go to Google and you type in, is Gary Vee? I don't know if you've ever done this.
Nope.
We're going to run through them.
A scam.
No,
Sure.
no. Is Gary Vee married?
Makes sense.
Is Gary Vee rich? You got to answer these.
No.
Not enough.
Is Gary Vee single? No. Is Gary Vee Russian?
I am.
Is Gary Vee invested into TikTok?
I'm not. Which blows people away because I'm talking.
You've been talking
We
about it a
talk
lot.
about it a lot.
Because I want to be historically correct.
You are the reason why I got on TikTok 6 months ago. Can I tell you? Because I was what you would tell people. People are like, I don't need to be on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I don't want to join another one. And I was saying those exact words. And then as soon as you got out on your platforms and you're like, and you were showing footage from years ago of you going, I don't want to go on Instagram because I'm on Facebook, MySpace. And I'm like, I'm getting on TikTok now.
We're all
so
on
I got,
TikTok.
and can I tell you, I have never had more numbers and likes and views than on my TikTok in the last 6 months.
It's underpriced attention.
Than I've had on Instagram that I've been on for 4.5 years.
Listen, guys, there's a reason I'm Gary Vee.
Yeah.
I tend to be right. Here's why. I don't guess.
Right.
You know, yeah,
You're
it's-
based on facts. It's
I'm
like,
based on. I own. Everyone's like, you know, when they're giving me compliments, Gary, you're like Nostradamus. You know the future. What's next?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know anything. I'm like, I'm just good at knowing what is actually happening, and I'm not scared to talk about it.
Hey, recently you had mentioned that you were thinking about no social media December, was
Yes,
it? Are you
disappearing December.
Yes. Are you still going to do that?
I'm not.
No?
But it is absolutely something I've thought about. And the reason I put it out publicly was A, I was thinking about it, and B, it might work for somebody.
Disappearing December, going
Especially-
off social media.
Especially at Christmas time as well, on Christmas Day.
I actually think it's the hardest month to go off.
Yeah, of course.
Because the holidays, the pictures, the trips,
showing,
like
yeah,
I actually think
exactly.
which is why I think it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think
you know-
it's a difficult.
Disappearing
You know, when I-
December.
Yeah, if I was like, see ya September, people are like, oh yeah, I can do that. You know, I can do that. But disappearing December is like,
See you September. Last one here on the top 10 of Google is Gary Vee vegan?
I am not.
Ever thought about it?
I have.
It's the thing now. Have you watched all those docos?
I have.
The Game Changer and all that?
By the way, I was thinking about it before all the hype and the docs. Now I'm like, oh, I'm not following this. You know, it's funny. I'm very into. You know what is interesting? Actually, I've never shared this. I have this real thought in this. Everything, paleo, vegan, not vegan. I wish people were comfortable changing their mind. I have a lot of friends who are vegan right now who don't want to be anymore, and feel like they can't.
They can't
Because
change.
They've
'Cause it's
gone too far.
they've gone
deep
too
in.
far.
invested in it, yeah.
Can I say I went vegan for a month, right? And I was talking about it on the show, and I started getting scared because I knew that the vegans were. They were proud. They started inboxing me. Oh, Kris is vegan.
He's one of us.
And so I kept having to say. I kept saying on the radio, guys, I'm only doing it for a month because I did start to get a little.
And?
Can I tell you?
Yeah, tell me everything.
I felt better. I had more energy. I was less bloated. Going to the bathroom was a lot easier.
You were regular.
I felt like just clarity in my brain was
Less
better.
brain
So
fog.
why'd you start?
Because I love meat, and I feel like when I'm training at the gym and I'm eating my proteins and I'm getting my my chicken on and I'm getting all that, like I felt like with the vegan side of it, I was eating more of those carbs. Based, I probably wasn't doing it the right way.
Do you have a sense of why you value muscles?
Always
What
getting
a
deep.
So
question.
true,
I
so
love
true.
this.
Well,
No, really, it's like I come from a good place on that. Like it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Like
why? Can I tell you? I was overweight. I was
Yeah.
128 kilos at one
Yes.
stage of my life. That's when I was anxious and depressed.
Yep.
The only thing that got me out of that was not the pills, and I would see a psychiatrist
Yeah.
and see all those guys. And the only thing that got me out of it was going to the gym every single day, right?
love that.
And
That's awesome.
That transformation in my body, and I was going through a divorce at the same time.
Yes.
So that transformation that I went through, going through the divorce and the body change, where I started to develop muscles that I never had. I've never had them.
I went through it as well. It was crazy. It's weird to have them
It's right. Like you start
later
going
in your life. You're like, what? Whoa.
Yeah, you start like.
I'm like, wait, running into things doesn't hurt anymore. This muscles, like that was. By the way, that is the single biggest thing that I thought of, like that I've observed of actually having muscles later in my life. I'm like, weird. When you run into a wall, it's not
hurt.
painful.
Super Gary Vee.
Yeah.
But I guess that's. I mean, I right now it's not so much about the muscles and wanting to look like a bodybuilder or anything like that. I just enjoy it, and you know what?
Yeah.
That self gratification. And it's true.
You look at yourself
I look
in
at
the
myself
mirror
in the
and you're
mirror.
happy.
I get it.
It plays with my mind. It makes me happy.
What about pooping better? Because that
Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm listen.
We're talking real right now.
Yeah.
It totally changed.
Well, that's what I mean. Maybe you should value that more than muscles.
Well, I tell you what. Now I've reduced my meat intake. I only eat red meat once
go.
a week.
There you go.
And I only eat chicken twice a week, and the rest is sort of like a vegan diet.
That's when I hear that,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is where I'm trying to give. The reason I'm saying out loud, it's okay to change, is because I like people having the ability to continue to mix and listen. All of this is about balance.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
all of it's about, like life is about balance, right? Like one of the reasons I'm talking more about how much I sleep is because I think a lot of entrepreneurs think staying up all day is how you hustle and win.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I might be a part of that movement. I need to create clarity. So over the last 3-4 years, I mean, we had Ariana Huffington in the Ask Gary Vee show 4 or 5 years ago. I've been very thoughtful about clarifying, because in the first book I wrote that broke me out, Crushed It, I talked about 7 p.m. to 2 in the morning as the time you do side hustle while you still paid your bills, because I was trying to be practical. You can't quit your job.
Of course.
Why don't you work after, instead of going out or playing Xbox or doing things to escape your real life, why don't you work, and then eventually that thing could become the thing and you can leave, which was great, and I still believe in that. But then obviously people heard the 2 a.m. thing, and so you know how things evolve.
Of course.
And so balance is incredibly important. The whole all of it. And people's own balance. For example, for me, I find balance in extremities. Like, I love going hard, Monday through Friday, and I love being completely checked out on the weekend.
But do you ever? I go pretty hard as well, as we all do, but I feel guilty sometimes on the weekend or at moments when I'm not doing anything,
Yeah.
and I've got to tell myself, Chris, you're allowed to do nothing.
I've never felt guilty.
You don't feel guilty, okay?
I would argue, and my friend Tom Bell, you hit this for me, my ability to not judge myself is my greatest strength.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
Not to be able to judge yourself. That's hard.
You know why I don't judge myself? Because I don't judge other people. You want to get really happy? Stop judging people.
Oh, that's good.
You stop judging people, you stop judging yourself. And by the way, for everybody who's driving and you judge people, you don't know anything about them. You don't even know everything about your sister. How are you judging strangers? Like, judgment is poison and has led to so much darkness especially with social media. What has happened, people blame social media. Social media hasn't done anything except expose us. There's no social media. We're social media. They're empty platforms. We fill it. When you leave that nasty comment because you're jealous that girl's pretty and you're insecure about your looks, that's your darkness. That's not Instagram making you write it.
It's not Instagram's fault. It's not the video game's fault.
Bro, these platforms are empty. This notion that Facebook or Instagram or the Russians are controlling us is laughable. We need to change society. We need to put happiness on a pedestal, not money.
Gary Vee with us.
Oof.
And guess what? There's some happiness happening in the studio next because we've got a surprise. Not so much for Gary Vee, but for someone who's waiting outside. Hey, we're here right now, and there's the master himself. Gary Vee in the house. D-Rock, what's up, man? We're doing a surprise right now. This is super cool. Hey.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Take a seat. Thank you for coming in on the weekend.
right
We're sorry
over
that we had to do this, but we've got 3 or 4 people who are having the opportunity to meet Gary. So we want to make sure that we're giving you the chance to see how it goes here. Let's see how we go. What's your name, sorry?
Nikita.
Nikita, okay. Good morning, good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Surprise!
Nikita, Gary Vee is in the studio!
Don't cry, don't cry.
This is absolutely perfect. She's in tears right now.
So good to see
This
you.
is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen.
How are you, sis? Don't cry. How are you?
Nikita, take a seat. You keep that emotion rolling, honey. That's exactly what I want. This is a beautiful moment.
I have a whole note section on my phone planned so I didn't forget anything. So it's good right now because my heart's like racing.
So you were unaware that you were going to be meeting Gary Vee right now. Now, do you know Gary was actually sitting at the bottom of right here on the ground?
I had intuition, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, wow. Well, here is the moment. So you were unaware that you were going to be meeting Gary Vee right now. Now, do you know Gary was actually sitting at the bottom of right here on the ground?
I had intuition, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, wow. Well, here is the moment. You hit us up. Now we got hundreds of messages in the last 24 hours of people wanting to
figured so.
have this opportunity to be next to Gary Vee and just be able to pick his brain and have a quick little word to him. And congratulations. Give her a big round of applause, Nikita.
I feel so blessed right now.
Please, you know what? I'm gonna stay out of this, and Pretty and Rossi, we're gonna
Yes.
stay out of this moment. I
Okay.
really want this moment between you and Gary to really go the way that you want it to go. So over to you.
Gary, can you please pass me my phone?
Yes, here we go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Where do I start? So, can you ask me something so I know where to start?
Yes, no worries.
Okay.
So, actually, here's a good question. How did you first find my content and like what resonated?
Everything. So, when I was in school for fashion design back in 2014, and that's when I found you, and you were just a huge source of motivation for me. Especially when you're super stressed out about meeting deadlines and whatnot, and then when you're stressed out, you procrastinate. So all of that, but that wasn't part of it. So basically, the big thing is after school, like I just didn't know. So it was a very condensed 1-year course, and I wanted to go to either FIT or Parsons in New York afterward. Now that's like $30,000, $40,000 US a semester.
Yes.
2 semesters a year, 4 years. It's super expensive, and
Yes.
then living in New York, of course. So I was already in personal training because I was a figure skater growing up, so I was always like very active, and I just kind of fell into the role. So I was like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity for me to make money to actually focus on another thing that I'm really passionate about.
Got it.
My voice is shaking.
Don't worry, we're here.
So that's another reason. So I was living in Vancouver. I'm from Canada.
Okay.
And believe it or not, Vancouver is more expensive than Dubai, and then there's income tax and whatnot. So I moved out to Dubai thinking I could save more money. Turns out training is very saturated here, and like 90% of personal trainers struggle.
Okay.
So it's just still a matter of like feeling very stagnant and like, when am I ever going to reach this goal? And then comparing myself to like
Others.
and like, yeah, like other people that I went to school with, and they have their bachelors or they're working on their masters or they're doing this job, and it's like, oh, like what am I doing? I'm never gonna get to school. Like,
Couple things are exciting to me about your story. 2 things stand out quite a bit. Number one, anytime one compares themselves to somebody else, they always lose.
okay.
When I was 27 years old, I worked in the liquor store. And
I know that.
And my friends drove to my liquor store and would buy champagne, and I would carry the box to their BMW.
I remember you saying that in a video, yeah, but you had no ego about it.
Right, because they're first of all, if your friends have bachelors or are engaged or have moved into a new apartment, I think you should be happy for them.
Yeah, of course. And
But it should stop there. To your point, I can even tell by your energy you are. But then what happens is, and then you look at yourself and you say, where am I?
yeah.
It just doesn't mean anything. It like people have to realize like life is so long. It's like, you know, just because we're at this point and you're not as in the same place as somebody else, there's little value to that comparison.
Okay.
Like, there's just little value. Like, I think so many people get upset about comparing themselves to others without realizing what those others are going through. So it's cool that they have their bachelor's, but they might be in a super abusive relationship, but you don't know.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
You never know what's behind the scenes.
You really don't. And it's super important that you ground yourself in that and not compare. Number two, far more interesting to me, is I want to play this game of like why those schools are your dream.
So it's not necessarily my dream. It's like when I was in school, I did really well, and I was like, I know that I'm passionate about it and I'm creative and I have the talent.
What would you like to happen?
Networking. Like, so, and that's another thing with videos I've watched of yours. You're like, you don't need education. So I was going to ask you, like, if you
need
have
education, you don't need to pay for it in the current packages they are.
Okay.
Let's play this game. So you want to go to those fashion schools, which I understand, those are legit spots.
Yeah.
Let's say you go there and crush. What would happen next?
I don't know. It was just a matter of who I met within those years of being there, and like the fashion directors at those schools are the actual designers themselves. So like Diana von Furstenberg, Calvin Klein, Marc Jacobs, all of those people. So if I were able to get face to face with those people.
But let's play that out. The amount of FIT students and Parsons students that have face to time with those three is zero. They'll come and give a speech. You might take a selfie, but you're not getting real FaceTime. You're far more likely to send a top designer DMs and offer to work for free for them, and they say yes, and then you grab coffee and pick up schmata and actually get close to them and actually get FaceTime than ever going to one of those two schools.
So what, like, how would that happen without going to school?
You would literally take your phone right now
And message them.
and DM DVF and say, I'm willing to work my face off for free. And you do that to 400 of the top designers in the world.
Okay.
And none of them answer. And then you sit there and say, Gary, he told me this was going to work. I hate him. And then you do it again, and you do it again,
Until
and
it
you do it
works.
again, and then somebody says yes.
Okay.
Until Virgil says yes, and you're in Paris doing an Off-White show. This is real. Like this is why breaking down this conversation is so important. Like, this is what's so fun for me. Like, the fact that you in your mind truly believe that going to those two schools is going to let you interact face to face with those three is amazing, because that's where I get to say, cool, but not really. And then there's another part of that question. Let's say those schools actually did give you face to face with those three. The next question is, and what then? And so what are you going to do in that hour? I mean, getting an hour with Calvin Klein's ludicrous, but let's say you get it from Parsons. You know, what?
Good question.
And it's not a tough question. It doesn't have to be a scary one. Like, I'm not asking to like, I got you. It's about what? Like, do you want to be a designer?
Of course I do.
Well, great. Then I have great news for you. You're far more likely to break out as a designer just designing and putting it out on social media than you are to go to a school. Like if you have the talent, whether you do go to FIT or you go to Instagram, it's all going to end up in the same place anyway. Talent wins.
So if I wanted to go ahead and within the meantime, like if I started putting everything out there on like all of my capsule collections and sketches, everything out on Instagram, but I didn't have that following and I wanted to start my own business without an audience, how would I go about actually starting that without having like, because...
Well, first of all, the way you just talked about it, that costs nothing.
Yeah.
The other way cost you $240,000 in debt.
I know.
Well, I also know. And so that's why I want to bring that up. To me, I'd rather you do that. Listen, your ability to put out those sketches, first of all, you put out those sketches, there is a 0.01% chance of a miracle, right? The other thing you can do is DM those sketches to 5,000 top models on Instagram.
Okay.
All you need is one person to think it's cool. I would rather you lay in bed for 11 hours a day and DM people all the sketches, whether they're designers, fashion magazines, fashion pages, and models. I genuinely believe what I'm about to say. I believe that's a more likelihood to what you want than going to FIT.
Okay. No, I definitely think so, because even after school, it would just be kind of, I don't want to be in the exact same position that I'm in now of like, oh, I just not necessarily wasted 4 years of my life, but I just put all of my eggs in that one basket and spent like 3-4 years of my life dwelling on getting to this school to finally get here and then be in the same position. And now what?
Correct.
Yeah.
The reason there's so much unhappiness right now in the world, especially in the American world, is there's a ton of people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars in college debt and everything they thought they were going to get from it, they didn't.
Basically what happened to me.
Basically what happened to millions of people.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that you need to sketch, capsule, and put it out for free to the world on all platforms. Like, this is why I yell about TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Hear that.
if you did figure skating, I assume you have athletic rhythm capabilities that most people don't. The fact that you, like, when I look at you, I'm like, this girl should just go on TikTok and put this stuff out.
So I have a TikTok as well, and it's just a matter of like knowing what content to put out there that would grab people's attention.
Work it the other way. That's what everybody does, which is why people fail. My game is just put out everything and figure out what people want
Okay.
after the fact.
And
Everybody sits there, because this is what gets into insecurity and judgment. That's why I talk about it so much. If you just put it out, you'll find out. If you sit in your head, you'll never post.
yeah, that's basically what's happening. I never post, and I think that's like I resonated with one of your posts about never posting because of insecurity and just like worrying about what other people think and whatnot. But you're not going to get anywhere that way.
That's what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
You had fun? Was that good? That was a good, that's like 10 minutes right now with Gary Vee
Oh, is it
one-on-one.
really?
Did you know this? I'm gonna wrap this up, but you guys can have a quick chat afterwards as well. But
Okay.
was that cool?
So unexpected. It feels so surreal being here. Like I was not expecting that whatsoever. And just like you're so genuine. Like the smile on his face and his jokes is so genuine. And he cares so much about people.
You know what you said again, what you just said to Nikita here about, you know, putting out content again resonated with me when we met nearly a year ago, where I heard you say that. You said, you know what, put out 100 videos. One of them may hit.
Yeah.
So I took that upon myself now with my own social media, where I used to think, oh, I'm not going to post that because I don't think that's right. Or I don't want to put that one out because maybe it's not going to work. So literally after I spoke to you, Gary, I really changed my mindset on social media, and I just started posting. And I used to only post at this certain time. I used to do it only then. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm just putting it out.
I was the same way. I watched his 64 in a day last night though. And it's just like even a matter of posting like a snippet from your notes section or Twitter, like it doesn't have to look perfect. So I have to stop being so particular.
Good on you. I'm glad. Now, Gary, we're gonna let you leave here, man. You've been here with us for a while, even though this could go on for the next 3.5 hours, I believe. Real quickly, what's next for Gary Vee? That question that everyone must ask you. Is there anything? Have you got your future goals, short-term goals? What's going on?
I want to continue to put out information that I know is leading to more happiness. You know, like hanging here with Nikita, like it's just perspective. It's you know, I was born with it. I had parents around me that gave it to me, and I just want to pass that on. Once you look at it a little bit different, it just changes everything. It's literally just looking at it different. Like, it's so exciting for me that I know what you actually want is a lot easier than the way you're seeing the path. It's literally leaving this studio right now, sketching and posting it on Pinterest, and literally that could be the moment.
That's so exciting.
If you're not following Gary Vee, I advise you to. You're an absolute legend. Thank you so much for joining us once again on Virgin Radio here on the Kris Fade Show. Gary Vee.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Virgin Radio.